It began as one of those quiet nights. One of those nights when nobody expected anything from Jungkook. Fans were scattered across the world, half asleep, half awake, scrolling through their phones with no warning of the chaos that was about to unfold. And then, with absolutely zero announcement, a notification dropped. Purple Circle, Jungkook started a live broadcast. Within seconds, the numbers exploded. 10, 000 viewers, 90, 000.300, 000, and rising. The screen lit up with that familiar soft glow of his room. Jungkook sat comfortably in a hoodie, hair slightly messy, eyes a little tired but warm. He waved casually like it was nothing. "Taehyung," he said with a shy smile. "I couldn't sleep." Fans immediately flooded the comments. "He looks so soft. Why do you go live at 3 a.m.? Is he alone? Who is he thinking about?" He laughed at the comments, rubbing his eyes. "You guys are quick. Really quick." Everything seemed normal, calm, soft, gentle. He talked about his day, his workout, the coffee he had earlier, and a song he couldn't get out of his head. But there was something different tonight. A kind of heavy pause between his sentences. A particular stillness before he spoke. A softness that felt nostalgic, like he was holding something back, like his mind was somewhere else entirely, and fans noticed. Why does he look like he's missing someone? His vibe is different today. He looks like he wants to say something but can't. Then Jungkook leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling, something he rarely did on live. He exhaled slowly. "That reminds me," he murmured. The comments froze. Fans leaned closer to their screens. The mood shifted. He wasn't reading comment. He wasn't reacting. He was thinking about something or someone, and just like that, the energy of the entire live stream changed. What started as a calm late-night visit suddenly felt like the beginning of something bigger, something unexpected, a turn no one had anticipated. Should I say this?" Jungkook said, almost to himself, tapping his fingers on the desk. Viewers exploded with, "Yes, excuse me, say it." "What do you mean, should I?" "Tell us everything." But Jungkook didn't smile this time. Instead, he looked down, lips pressed together like he was choosing his words with unusual care. Not the playful teasing kind of careful, but the serious kind. "You know, sometimes there are things you want to say, but you don't get the timing right," he said. "And then it stays with you for a long time." He wasn't reading comments. He wasn't performing. His voice was quieter than usual, more thoughtful. Fans began typing furiously. "Who are you talking about? What happened? Why does this sound personal?" Jungkook glanced at the screen as if he saw the questions piling up, but he didn't address them. Instead, he continued, "There's someone I've been thinking about lately. A lot." The chat exploded so fast it nearly froze. Who? Who, Taehyung? Is he talking about V? For a split second, just one, Jungkook smiled, not a grin, not a laugh, just a soft, almost fond curve of his lips. "I don't know why, but memories have been coming back. Randomly." He looked away again. "Good ones." He paused. "Really good ones." He didn't say a name. He didn't need to. Fans already connected dots. Recent moments. Old interactions. The way Jungkook's voice softened whenever Taehyung's name was mentioned. The way they used to joke, laugh, and talk without filters. And then Jungkook said it. The line that sent the entire fandom into meltdown. "Some people leave a mark without trying. And even when things change, you still feel it." The comments exploded like fireworks. "Okay, that's definitely about Taehyung. What is happening right now? Jungkook, please, this is so personal." But Jungkook wasn't finished. Not even close. He leaned in closer to the camera, voice dropping into something almost whisper-like. "I wonder if he knows." The world froze. He. Anyway, Jungkook said quietly, as if realizing he'd said too much. Those thoughts came back tonight. He ran a hand through his hair and exhaled loudly, nervously. The viewers knew, everyone knew, this wasn't planned, this wasn't staged, and it wasn't one of those light-hearted comments that he could brush off later. This was Jungkook speaking without a script, and something in his heart had slipped out. The atmosphere grew heavy again. The live chat became a blur of theories, shock, and disbelief. But the most shocking moment was still coming. The unexpected turn that would send the entire fandom into chaos. The mysterious message, the one that pointed straight to Taehyung, and Jungkook had no idea he was about to say it. The tension in the live was no longer subtle. It was thick, undeniable, almost physical. Even Jungkook seemed to feel it. He sat there, fidgeting with the drawstrings of his hoodie, trying to look casual while millions of fans stared at him like detectives who had just found the final piece of a puzzle. He tried to change the topic. So, I was working on music earlier today, he said, clearing his throat. There's this one melody that keeps coming back to me. It's kind of nostalgic. Like really nostalgic. He paused, eyes glancing upward as if searching for the right memory. But it reminds me of, he stopped suddenly. Sharply, it was the kind of stop that didn't happen unless he caught himself right before saying something he wasn't supposed to. His shoulders tensed, his tongue pressed against the inside of his cheek, his eyes widened, betraying a flash of panic. The fans immediately knew. Of who, Jungkook?
Say it. Say. It.
Why do you always stop? No way he meant Taehyung again? Jungkook laughed nervously, lifting a hand to cover his mouth. What am I doing today? He whispered to himself. This wasn't a typical live. This wasn't him being chaotic or teasing fans for fun. This was something slipping through the cracks, raw and unfiltered. He tried again. The melody reminded me of those days when we were always together. You know, joking around, messing up choreographies, annoying each other. He cut himself off again, and Owen was breathing at this point. He blinked, swallowed, looked dead into the camera. With everyone. He corrected himself, but the correction was weak, barely convincing even to him. Fans didn't buy it for a second. Biaro said everyone, but his eyes said Taehyung. Stop trying to fix it, we already know. He's too nervous for this to be about everyone. Jungkook rubbed his temples, muttering something under his breath that sounded suspiciously like, "Why am I like this?" Then he leaned closer to the camera, as if confessing something unintentionally. You know, there's a name that keeps popping into my head today. The world froze. Fans collectively sat forward. He blinked slowly, opened his mouth, and it's Ta. His eyes widened. He clamped his mouth shut instantly like he had been electrocuted. Even he looked shocked at what almost escaped. There it was there.
It
was the moment everyone had been waiting for. A single syllable, a single letter point one breath away from saying Taehyung on live in the middle of a midnight spiral of nostalgia. The comments detonated. He was about to say it. No, 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 he did not almost do that. Jungkook, what were you about to say? The ta was so clear. Hello? Jungkook covered his face with both hands. Oh my god, he groaned into his palms. I wasn't. He couldn't even form a proper sentence anymore. He completely lost his composure. He laughed, embarrassed, shaking his head as if he couldn't believe himself. What is happening today? He whispered. He finally uncovered his face, cheeks flushed red. Okay, I'm done talking about memories. Next topic. But nobody believed him. Because the truth had already slipped, because he'd already said enough, and almost said too much. Because for the first time, Jungkook had almost said Taehyung's name, not while reading comments, not while answering a question, but while speaking straight from his own thoughts, and that changed everything. Jungkook tried desperately to get the live back on track. He talked about food. He talked about exercise. He talked about sleep schedules, well, the lack of them. But fans noticed he wasn't fully present. His eyes kept drifting to the side. The phone just off dash screen. The notification that he hadn't acknowledged again, but absolutely hadn't ignored. One point he glanced at it and smiled again. Soft, like he was reading something meant only for him. So you're still awake? He murmured quietly, not realizing the mic picked it up. The chat immediately combusted. Who is awake with you at 3 a.m.? Taehyung is definitely a night owl. Hello. Why did he say that so casually? Jungkook froze when he realized he said it out loud again. That wasn't meant for you guys, he said, embarrassed. He put the phone face down, but fans knew. If he really wanted to hide who he was talking to, he would have turned the phone off. He would have put it out of reach. He would have moved it entirely out of frame. He didn't. He left it exactly where it was, close enough to grab, close enough to glance at, close enough for him to react involuntarily. Then he said something unexpected. You know, sometimes you drift apart from people. Not because of anything bad. Just life. He looked down, and it feels weird when you suddenly talk again. Like nothing changed. The entire chat fell into a frenzy. They talked again? Hello? Is he saying they reconnected? Jungkook, you can't just drop that casually. Jungkook exhaled deeply, elbows on the table, hands clasped in front of his lips. I'm not supposed to talk about this, he said quietly. That sentence alone sent chills through the fandom, but tonight feels different. I don't know why. His voice grew softer. I got a message that, I don't know. It reminded me of how things used to be. He paused. The next part felt heavier, more honest, more real. And I realized I missed it. His eyes shifted away from the camera, not out of nervousness, but out of vulnerability. The kind you don't show unless